Hi, hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It's Go Hollywood here, and today I'm going to be talking about Core 21 spoilers. I'm going to be picking two of my favorite cards from every color. Let's jump right in and start with white. For my first pick, I choose Mangara the Diplomat. Lifelink 2/4 for 3 colorless and a white. Says whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and are planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. I love this card, and I expect to see it everywhere once the set hits. I could see it in control lists, where they're trying to slow down opposing aggressive strategies by providing an early blocker that can gain life and that will draw them cards. Especially if your opponent tries to use any interaction against it and you're able to counter that spell, likely that will be the second spell they've cast that turn, which will draw you a card. My second pick, I'd like to talk about Speaker of the Heavens. For 1 white, we have a Vigilance Lifelink 1/1. That has a tap ability to create a 4/4 angel with flying, only if you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, and only as a sorcery. I can see this card all over life gain strategies, but where I really see it shining is in Historic. In the mono white list that's already established as another win condition. It's quite easy to get to 7 life plus, and to be able to potentially attack and post-combat create a 4/4 angel can be backbreaking. Now moving on to blue. Blue has always been my favorite color, but I've really found it lacking lately. And this set is no different. For my first pick, I'm going to choose Teferi, Master of Time. Teferi, for 2 colorless and 2 blue, starts at 3 loyalty, and says you may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi on any player's turn, instant speed. +1, draw a card, then discard a card. -3, target creature you don't control phases out. -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. Now, generally, planeswalkers that don't have the ability to protect themselves or have game-winning ultimates aren't good enough. Teferi, I see as a card that really supports other planeswalkers. Now, taking 2 extra turns is very powerful, but on itself, if it's the only card you have out, doesn't guarantee you to win the game. I can see Teferi in control shells, supporting other planeswalkers to help them get to their ultimates, or potentially decks that have graveyard synergies, or where a graveyard matters. The loot ability can be quite nice. I don't like it as much as just drawing a card, but we'll see what happens. For my second blue spell, I'd like to talk about a 6 mana instant called Sublime Epiphany. Now this card is basically Cryptic Command, but amped right up. It costs more, but it's very powerful. It says choose 1 or more. Counter target spell. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Target player draws a card. In a control list, this is huge. Being able to counter a spell, draw a card, bounce one of their creatures, and copy, say, a Dream Trawler. Also, this card might be played in a Simic ramp strategy, but that's yet to be seen. The next color I'd like to talk about is black. For my first pick, I'm going to be talking about Massacre Worm. Massacre Worm for 3 colorless and 3 black is a 6/5 that says, when Massacre Worm enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Massacre Worm can be an amazing finisher in a reanimate strategy against aggro decks. In Historic, I really like it against opposing Field of the Dead decks. Being able to wipe their board and to deal them 2 damage per zombie could just win you the game on the spot. For my second black card, I'd like to talk about a vampire. Vito, Thorn of the Duskrose. For 2 colorless and a black, it's a legendary creature, Vampire Cleric, 1/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. For 3 colorless and 2 black, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. This card really shines in black-white life gain strategies, black-white X. In Historic, the mono-white deck could splash black for this card and not even have to attack to end the game. Its ability to give all your creatures lifelink, so after they swing, deal damage, gain life, deal more damage, could just end the game. For my next color, red, I'd like to talk about Sabira Tulzidi Caravaner. It says, 2 colorless and a red, 2/3 haste, legendary creature, human shaman, 1 colorless, activate another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. For 1 colorless, a red, tap, discard your hand until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Where I see this shining is in very aggressive red strategies with 1 CMC, 2 CMC creatures that potentially can go unblockable. Fervent Champion, Tin Street Dodger, Ginger Brute, and then you end with Sabira on turn 3, and on turn 4 you can refill your hand and keep the swinging happening, keep the aggression going, and cheese your opponent out very quickly. For my second red card, I'd like to talk about Terror of the Peaks. Now, I really enjoy this card, and I've been really enjoying playing red in Standard, but mostly in Historic lately. Terror of the Peaks is 3 colorless, double red, dragon, 5/4 flying. Spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Now, I see this card as a great finisher in any red aggressive strategy, whether it be mono red, Gruul, whatever. Being able to deal 3 damage when your opponent is trying to deal with it, and even just swinging in the air as a 5/4. This card will end the game very quickly if left unchecked. The final monocolor I'd like to talk about is green. My first pick is Elder Gargaroth. This card will fit into any green strategy. It is a mid-range house. For 3 colorless, double green, 6/6, vigilance, reach, trample. Whenever Elder Gargaroth attacks or blocks, choose 1. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token, gain 3 life, draw a card. Green being able to draw cards is very, very powerful. Even making a creature every time it attacks and every time it blocks, or gaining life if you need. I'm going to be fitting this card into every green list that I have. A card that I really like with this card is Rhythm of the Wilds. Being able to give your creatures haste or counters. It's a 6/6 that can swing the turn it comes out and makes a 4/4. Second green card I'd like to talk about is a card that's been reprinted many times. Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze is 1 colorless, 1 green for a 2/2 that has the ability to pay 1 green to exile target card from a graveyard. If it's a creature, put a 1/1 counter and gain life. Scooze is the graveyard hate card that green's been waiting for. I really enjoyed playing with Clothis, but Scavenging Ooze is just so much better. You don't even have to use it just to peel out cards that you want to hate out of graveyards. Being able to just kill your opponent's creatures and being able to eat them and grow and swing in is huge. And this card has proven itself in older formats, and I can expect to see it all over Standard and Historic. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the dual colored. And for my pick and dual colored, I'm going to talk about a red-green creature. Rada, Heart of Keld. For 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 green, you get a 3/3 legendary creature elf warrior. As long as it's your turn, Rada has first strike. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands from the top of your library. For 4 colorless, red-green, Rada gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. Being able to play lands off the top of your deck and not have to show your opponent what you're doing, I like this card a lot. I really like this card with another card in this set, Azusa, Lost Seeking. The two of these cards together really prevent mana flood. Every extra land on the top of your deck just comes right onto the battlefield, pulling them out of the way. And the ability to get +X/+X when you need late in the game can just be a 1 punch that can end the game immediately. For the last card I'd like to talk about, we have colorless, and it's Ugin the Spirit Dragon. For 8 mana, Ugin's 7 loyalty, Planeswalker. +2, Ugin deals 3 damage to any target. -X, exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less, that's 1 or more colors. -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Now this is an ultimate that wins the game on the spot. In my mind, I'd like to think that Ugin could fit into the adventure deck in the sideboard right away. They utilize their mana ramp very well. But talking about the last cards I just did, Rada and Azusa, I'm going to be playing around with a Gruul ramp list. So that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed my video. Please hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.